now that you start to see, wow, I always know and sense the right way, at that point it's time to turn inward and start looking at the sources of what you sense versus the outcome that they bring you.
Good morning, my friend, and welcome to Friday. It's finally Friday. And not just any old Friday, it is Lightcast Day, the new moon, the most powerful day of the month to set your intentions. Sensei has a new moon checklist for you, so from my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your Friday Namaste today. Welcome to Namaste Today, a practical way to start every day. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Sensei Chris Witecki. I work in love and light, and I prefer to use the vocabulary of laughter. Namaste, my friend, and welcome now to Friday. Thank Goddess it's Friday, and not just any old Friday. As I said, it is Lightcast Day, the new moon, the most powerful day of the month to set our intentions, because we're in Libra. This is a new deal with you. A new day with you. One small step for you, one giant leap for your kind, okay? And today you take that step by making a decision about what to cut away. And I'll give you some new moon tips in your megascope. But first, let's kick off today with your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Friday, September 30th, 2016. Looking ahead at your 3-day weekend moodcast. Well, today is Lightcast Day. It's eerie quiet, but I predict sunny and sharp. Tomorrow on Saturday, it's going to be sunny and feeling quite lovely. And Sunday, it's also a sunny day, but it's introverted, and you'll be thinking and withdrawn. But today, I predict sunny and super sharp. What you be today is what comes. Now, the Great Human Walk has reached Step 8 Libra for the new moon Lightcast Day. That means our ruling channel today is Channel 8, I Decide. And that means the ruling planet of this lightcast is Saturn. Now our emotional focus is delicate and very gentle. That's because the moon is gracing by the sun in Libra today. And our mental focus goes up to passion. Mercury's at Step 20 Virgo today. And that means we are mindful of things taking off from here. So with the new moon upon us, I thought I'd give you a new moon checklist in your megascope. But first, steep yourself some tea, and let's have our Friday tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time is a fun one. It is Psychedelic Psychics. This is a couple of weird stories about psychic encounters I've had. I just put it out there so people can identify or relate. Remember, if your heart feels it relates, it relates. It's your heart that knows the truth. And this is me going along a certain path. One of them has to do when I was interviewing. There was a time when I was trying to open my own psychic salon in the sense of a boutique kind of like psychic agency. And I tried, and I had some really good talented psychics, and I was interviewing psychics, and I felt like, to have a brand name agency that people could count on would be awesome, But then over time, I just realized it's really hard, like to get a bunch of mystics under one roof just because they're all going through their stuff and they're following the spirit and that sort of thing. But upon the interview, I did come across a clarifaction. I don't know if you know what clarifaction is, but it's a psychic who identifies by smell. Now, when I thought clarifaction, I imagine it goes all sorts of ways, but I thought it meant that they'd have to smell me and they would give me a reading, like in which case I was worried. You know what I mean? But no, this was totally different. Totally blew my mind. I'll tell you this story. Basically, it was through Skype. She was on Skype. It was a woman, and when she went into her thing, she would, like her trance, she would start smelling stuff. and she would be like, I think your grandfather's coming through. And I'm like, really? She's like, yes. I'm smelling pipe tobacco, this, that. But then and it's like, well, that's a lot of grandpas. But then she identified some smell in his bedroom that I was like, oh my God. Even then, I almost could smell it. And then she identified my grandma by her smells and the way grandma smelled, and like, and then she identified, sometimes she said she could even identify meals, like certain meals that would come through that, like that the person who crossed over was missing, or a person who crossed over would talk about a certain smell. She would be smelling like, I'm smelling pot roast, like pot roast cooking, and so like, oh, like, but a lot of these are symbolic, but it's fascinating. And what's weird is because it's your smells, and they're smells tied to your memories and stuff, you swear it's there with you in that moment. It's pretty powerful. Now, along the same sense, okay, pun intended, I have found that, I've had, like for instance, Mary Beth Murphy, you guys know, she did the angel videos for us, and she had told me that when Archangel Michael shows up, you smell chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, what? There wasn't even chocolate chip. What? There's not even chocolate chip cookies in Angel World, is there? Like, is that totally like a modern Hershey's, like, or at least 1700s thing? Why would this happen? She goes, I don't know why. I don't know why. You just have to smell for yourself. I was like, okay. So I remember I had gone through a dark time. Like this vortex opened up. Things were dark, really dark, and I prayed to Archangel Michael for protection. I was living in this big house up in the valley at the time, and I'd forgotten that I prayed to him. And I walk kind of in the kitchen, and I smell chocolate chips cooking. I swear to God. And this was like at winter time, and I was like, oh, I wish someone who's smelling chocolate chips. I go outside, it's stark cold. I go back inside, it really smelled warm, and I was like, huh. And then I think that's when I put this, like, I'll be damned, maybe Archangel Michael does smell like chocolate chip cookies. So you never know. But I do think that. I know with my own loved ones, there have been moments where scent has come over, a smell, and I know they were creating that scent. I know they were recreating that scent, a scent of a cologne or a scent of a flower, or a scent of a food. Food is a big one. I think Spirit sends like a smell of a food that you love that really trigger you. It's really good. The other little story I want to talk about real quick in this psychedelic psychics episode has to do with animal intuitives. I got involved with animal intuitives because at one time I was trying to produce a show for animal intuitives. Met a couple of really great intuitives. One was actually, she didn't even really call herself an intuitive, but she turned out to be the best animal intuitive I've ever experienced. I thought animal intuitives are like, I'm picking up this, I'm picking up that. That's what I thought an animal intuitive was, okay? Well, this girl comes over and she's like, oh, I love your dog. Do you mind if I read him? I'm like, no, not at all. And she goes, okay, he says he doesn't like how he has to sleep outside every day, and he doesn't like how you always go for a walk in those stinky shoes, the blue ones, and you're like, oh my God, like totally. I'm like, you little shit, be quiet. Like totally outing me on all my stuff or whatever. And I was like, holy crap. And because she was there the whole time and because she was a friend of mine, it's like she became the voice of Chris the dog, which was the dog I got, if you guys know the story. She became the voice of Chris the dog. So it'd be like, okay, it's dinner time. And then she would play the voice like, I want some. Like, and I look over and he'd be like right in the timing of it. It was like, am I some sort of a Disney film or something? Like, I had never seen synchronicity, but I'll tell you, it goes way beyond that because Chris the dog had been getting sick. And he'd been getting sick and not eating, and he was having some hair issues, or he's losing some hair and stuff like that. And so I was like, hey, ask him, what it is. And she's like, I did ask him. He says he doesn't know what it is. He says he's been sick. He's not hungry. He's having a hard time with his food. And I was like, It's like nothing's changed or whatever. And all of a sudden we hear this dog barking outside. And like we keep hearing this dog. We're like, God, what is going on? And my friend is like, hold on. I think she's trying to tell us something. I'm like, oh, come on. And like she runs outside and she's like, okay. Like she's acting like and I'm like, no, there's no way. There's just no way. She's like, Well, the little dog up there says that he's been drinking the water in the fountain, and the fountain has lead in the paint because the owners painted it last year, and the other dogs told her this, and da-da-da. I was like, no way, this is like a Disney film. So like, all right, so ask Chris. It's like, Chris, have you been drinking the water in the fountain? As soon as we looked at Chris, he's like, he gives me the look, and she's like, he says yes. I'm like, oh my God, fine. So, I have, and it was so real. I mean, I'm giving little highlights of what was really funny about that little moment, but honestly, I was in a Disney film. It was like everything was being narrated, and the things that she told and revealed, it made me realize that we, human beings, like, are the ones who are out of touch. Human beings are the ones who are out of touch. All of animals and everything else, even that dog up there on the hill, which turned out to be true. We followed up through it, and we found out that yes, my dog was drinking the water. We drained the thing. He stopped having sickness. His hair grew back. Like, it was definitely the thing in the pond. So, Halamia, how do you know? All right. Well, that said, let me take a sip of tea, and I'll channel for you your Megascope. Megascope is what my guides have to say to help you on your way. And then when I come back, I have a new moon checklist for you on this Lightcast day. No. That was someone checking in. Okay, and that was Bella's papa coming in there just now, if you wanted to know who that was checking in. So today, as we go through the weekend, it's what we call Lightcast Day. It's actually going to be a really kind of quiet day is what I pick up on. In fact, just now it's like it got a little interruption or whatever, and then I had to tune back into the energy. It's extremely quiet. I think the reason why it's extremely quiet is because it's totally a new day. It is time to decide what you are not anymore, and what you're left with is really new hope, new possibility, new perspective. All right? Don't get down or worried about what you see. Give the whole universe a chance to bring you up. You must first decide what you are not and allow things to be brought into balance. Now, that said, I have a new moon checklist for you to take on your way, help you on your way here. Something you can just check off and know that you're good for this astrological event. Step 1, decide what you are not anymore. I am not this. I am not her slave. I am not his slave. I am not their, beating board. Like, I am not those things. And be clear on the nots. You may not know what you are, but be clear on what you're not. Step 2, do you know what is fair? Okay, you should at least be at fair. Fair is the least we can accept in this new Jupiter in Libra. Fair is the least we can accept. Fair is the least we can do. Do you know what is fair? Step 3, are you stepping up to a new level with you? Is this a new day for you, or are you stepping up to a new level for you? If you're stepping up to a new level for you, you are on the right path. Everyone should be stepping up and stepping it up a level with themselves. And I always liken that to kind of like an Olympic athlete. It's like each time you go to the Olympics, it's like you and you, and you and you've got to step it up if you and you are going to win what you want, right? So it's time, a new day for you and you. Now, for those who are watched over by my personal Sensei service, today we're going to talk about being an empath, what you can do as an empath, and some tips on protecting yourself as an empath. It's not what you would think, actually. And at 3 o'clock, I will talk about where you are most empathic. So where, according to your natal chart, you're most empathic, and that means where you are most sensitive. We'll talk about both of those. If you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. I thank you ahead of time. And also, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at CWateki. And if you'd like to know about the bright star you really are, come on down to SeriousJoy.tv. We are doing a Facebook Live today off my Facebook channel. I'll have the link at SeriousJoy.tv under Namaste today, so if you want to, if you don't know my Facebook or haven't added me, but it will go live at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. It's our show and tell. It is unscripted. We'll be sharing items that you all have sent me through the year, and I'll be going through them and sharing with the rest of the community, and we'll also do our live drawing for those who've signed up recently for Serious Joy. Please remember, friends, to have a fantastic Lightcast day and weekend. Choose yourself, love yourself. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.
So